What's going on, everyone? Kelly Cavallera here, one half of 7 Era Media, and welcome to today's edition of the Honky Tonk Highway, episode number 79. And judging by your intro, you have no idea what's about to happen. You know that moment when your guest decides he wants to freeze and hit a music break, and I freak out thinking I lost signal and he is no longer on camera. And he's over here laughing. Before we get to the guests, just a couple things, guys. Who else besides me is excited that it's event week? That's right. This Thursday, Florida Line Dance Classic 2020. Can't wait to happen. Orlando Marriott, Lakeside. If you haven't yet, if you want to still join us, there's plenty of room still. Make sure, come party with us. We're going to have a grand old time. JC Dance Productions putting on the event. It's going to be a blast. Okay? Just a couple things. If you haven't yet, like, follow, share, subscribe, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We're on it all. Right now, we're broadcasting live to Facebook and YouTube, so you can catch us anywhere you go. Couple things real quick. Don't forget. Oop, that's the wrong one. This is the right one. We're just a few hours away, about 3 before tickets go on sale live, 12:01 in the morning, UK time. That's about 7 p.m. here in the States. Chris, wait, what's this Thursday? Haha, funny there, jocks. The Crystal Boot Awards tickets go on sale, just 25 pounds, get you access to all 4 days. We'll be live online and on location. Make sure to look out for Betty Drummond's post about that in just a couple hours as it goes live officially for you to buy tickets. You don't want to miss that. Tomorrow's guest, you're not going to want to miss. I'm going to have Daniel Tripod on. We're going to be talking about his new event, Olé, the original line experience that's coming up next year. They announced he's going May 31st through June 7th over in Spain. So join me. It's going to be at another special time. We're going to do it at noon Eastern. That's right, 12 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. UK time is a special time for this week because that tomorrow is going to be the last live show of the highway this week due to the fact that we have an event. I'm going to kind of be there doing floor, doing some videos, kind of competing. So definitely check that out. Also, without further ado, today's guest. Guys, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, this thing debuts. If you haven't yet, the John Robinson Show at gmail.com to sign up. But my guest today to tell us all about his new project and about his love of pickles. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Indiana, Mr. John, Mr. Showcase Robinson. What's going on, sir? Oh, I lost him again. That's not even funny. No, don't do that. Not cool.
You should know that's what it's like working with me.
That's what scares me most of the time. So how you been, sir?
I'm just peachy, thank you very much. How about yourself?
Not too shabby. I don't know about, I know I am. I can only imagine how excited you are to get on the road and come down to Florida.
Nah. I like sitting at home getting fat.
I'm sure Chris is glad you're going to be out of the house.
Well, no, because he works all the time, so we hardly ever see each other.
So, you have a new project that debuts tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern. The John Robinson Show, which
that is correct.
Little frightening on an entire show with you. That could be scary. I don't know. I do an entire show with me, and people think that's scary. So, hey, who knows?
You don't scare me, Kelly.
Yeah, I know.
And I like your show.
Well, thank you. So, tell us about where the idea came from, what made you decide to do your own show, and what it's going to entail.
Okay. So when the whole pandemic came down and basically I lost my job, I wasn't able to travel anymore. At first, I was like, hey, this is cool. I can relax. I'm an introvert, so I won't mind all this time to myself. It'll be great. And then after a couple of months of that, it got old. So I started just putting it out to the universe, like, what are some things that I could do? And a friend of mine who's a musician recommended this platform called Patreon. So it's a website for creators. There are artists, musicians, anybody who's creative can set up a page on this website called Patreon.
Right.
And basically you upload whatever type of material you wish, and people can subscribe. You determine different membership tiers, and each one has a different price. So, and the person who's posting chooses that. So I choose the amounts for my page, and basically I'll post whatever the heck I want. So,
Kind of like me.
well, the suggestion was a good idea. I wasn't sure how to accomplish it at the time. So after letting that kind of just fall by the wayside for a little while, I decided I'm gonna have to mention this here because it's important. So with all this free time on my hands, I after working for Walmart for 2 months, I decided to pursue. I've always been a big proponent of self-empowerment and self-growth. So I started a course online called Lifebook, and it really gets you to think about what are your beliefs, what are your goals, what do you want, what do you really want out of life. So that kind of motivated me to put something out to the universe again, saying I really want to go forward with something maybe online. Any information anybody could provide would be really helpful. So Brian Barakauskas reached out to me, and he said, oh, I saw that you want to do this online thing, and we've done all kinds of videos at my studio in Louisville, Kentucky. We have the cameras, we have the lighting, we have, the backdrop, we have the floor. If you want to come down and use it, this is, the arrangement I would make with you. And it was a scary step, but I decided I needed to do it. So the opportunity came along, and I'm a firm believer that if the universe provides something to you, then you need to take advantage of it because it might not happen again. So went to Louisville, spent 2 entire days filming. Megan, Brian's partner, dance partner, she did the videoing. And at one point she said, I don't know how you can talk this much. How do you remember everything? So I had a clipboard full of notes, so that really helped. But recorded a lot of material video wise. I'm also going to be doing, so there's, I should probably break it down a little bit. So there's going to be what I call series. There's a series on footwork. There's a series on choreography. There's a very, very, very good series on teaching and teaching techniques. I can't remember them all. There's a series on variations. All the topics that I feel are important for our dance community to focus on and learn more about. Because I feel, coming from my background, I just got thrown into line dancing, just went to a bar, started dancing, started teaching, started competing, boom. I had no training, no guidance. It was a major learning experience for me. So hopefully this information that I'll be providing will help people who are now in this fun activity, and I know it's business for some as well, give them some guidance, some inspiration, and some really useful information and tips that they need to know. There'll also be podcasts. So I don't have all the equipment I need to do the podcast yet. I need to get a really good microphone. So right now what I do is I go in my bathroom and talk to my iPhone.
You'll be surprised what you can pull off with an iPhone. Don't knock the iPhone.
Yeah, it's working really well, but I had to get software to edit the videos. I had to get software to edit the podcast, and that's all a learning experience for me as well. I mean, I pick up things fairly quickly, but if there's no guidance, that makes it harder. So I had to look at a lot of YouTube videos, like how do I make this fade work, and then follow the instructions and figure it out. And the more I do something, the easier it gets. So in time, the products, the final projects will look better and sound better. But right now, the first video that I edited, I am super, super pleased with. It turned out so cool for my first project. So overall picture, there'll be information on a variety of topics that will be very helpful. The other thing is too, depending on the membership tier that people subscribe to, I am also offering a chance for some one-on-one coaching through that program, because obviously I can't do it in person right now. So that is for the highest tier for the people. And I want to mention this as well, because tomorrow the whole program goes live with all the pricing and stuff. But when you think about it, what you would pay to get private lessons from me for all this material would be way more than what you're going to be paying to get it through this do this John Robinson show online. So it's a very, very good opportunity and a good price range for the material that's being presented.
Awesome. Got a comment from a Jim Stankiewicz. He says, "Hi Kelly, hi John. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Will there be a cooking segment on the John Robinson show where we will learn pickling recipes?"
That hasn't something I was planning to do, but I'm always open to suggestion. So one of the cool things, that's actually, I'm glad that Jim asked that, because one of the cool things about this plan is it's not just about my dancing. This is a platform for creators, and I'm a very creative individual, in case you didn't know that. So I'm going to be highlighting some of my other talents on there. It makes me nervous to do that because I'm very comfortable with my dance career. That nothing about that makes me nervous. That's just second nature for me, right? But to sing or share my poetry or show how I make, some of the jewelry projects that I make, that's all stuff I'm going to be sharing on there as well. So you're going to get a little more insight into the crazy world of John Robinson, not just the dance world, but what a crazy lunatic creative person is really like. So I think that'll be kind of fun. I haven't recorded any of those things yet because that makes me nervous. But
I think
it is
anybody
on the
who
list
spends 5 minutes with you knows how much of a crazy lunatic of a person you can be.
Honestly, I'm very quiet and shy. I don't know why anybody thinks that I'm crazy. Did you see the intro to this program?
Yeah. Everyone thought we had a rave going on.
Well, that intro music is awesome. And that's one of the things I had to find, Kelly. You know all about this. I had to go get royalty-free music to use for the intro to my podcast and my videos. So, yep. And that was part of my expenses too. So,
yeah, I have a great website I use where I pay $10 a month and I can download any amount of music I want. It's great.
Yep.
And I don't get busted. I can play it as many times as I want, and Facebook won't match the algorithm.
Exactly. That's something I have to think about for the choreography aspect of my show. I've had a lot of. Well, let me back up for a second. So when I sent out the introductory email, I asked 2 questions in my introductory email to everybody that asked for more information about the show. And I did that for 2 reasons. Number 1, to make sure you got the message, because if you reply, then I know you received it. And number 2, it gives me more material to present to all the subscribers. So one of the biggest questions, one of the most common questions, there were several, but one of the most common questions was musicality and how to be more expressive and that kind of thing. So I will need to do that using royalty-free music, of course. I can't pick, like the latest Kenny Chesney track or the latest track from Imagine Dragons or something and put that on there. So I needed to purchase a subscription to this program where I can actually use music and not have to worry about that. So it'll be interesting because I actually do that in the choreography. I think it was I forget which series, if it was choreography or styling, but I have a song that I found. It's kind of funky. I don't like funky stuff. It's kind of funky and kind of sexy and kind of, I don't know. It's a great track. And when Melissa heard it, when we were videotaping, she was like, "Oh, that'd be an awesome West Coast swing." I'm like, "No one is allowed to steal this." But I did a little sort of a freestyle to it on camera. And that was really fun because I'm not, super familiar with that track. I'd only heard it once to download for the show. So that should be fun because one of the things I'm going to be talking about a lot now that I've seen the questions is more about how you can interpret music better.
Right.
I think that's a big issue in our line dance world. We don't get trained how to do that, and it's not natural for everyone. For some people, some people have a more natural tendency to be able to interpret music. Just easier for them. They connect with the stuff in the music. And one of the first podcasts I'll be uploading touches on that. But I'll do more videos on it as well because I think people really want to see that.
Awesome. Betty Drummond says he certainly got a lot of chatter for a podcast. I'm sure that wasn't the issue. Guyton just joined us on. He says, "What's up, boys?" Cool. Mr. Mundy, I'm sure you're enjoying the little bit cooler weather out on the boat now. Jim wants to know, will there be a sports segment on air hockey leagues? For those who don't know about that story, so a couple years ago at the Line Dance Showdown in Boston, me, Kelly, myself, our buddy David Wilburn, Big Jim, had the privilege of taking John to his very first arcade ever. We took him to a Dave & Buster's, and they had a 4-person air hockey table. So it was 4 against each other. So it was John's first experience playing air hockey, and what we wouldn't have gone to have a camera on that.
It was a blast.
Guyton said the weather needs to be warmer. Miss
Oh,
Cameron.
Guyton Monday, you should be here in Indiana right now. It is snowing outside my van.
I lucked out. I didn't get any snow on my trip across country. Like 3 days after I drove through New Mexico, Scott posted the video of the big snowfall he had in Santa Fe. Jen Cameron says, can't wait to see you two this weekend. I know I'm looking forward to the weekend. We've got the competition, the finals, bunch of open dancing, the show. Lots of great times.
I'm not sure how much dancing I'll be able to do. I can't remember how to do a grapevine right now.
Says the guy who's releasing a video series tomorrow.
Well, I haven't social danced in months. The last time I danced was, oh gosh, who did I think it was Rob Fowler. One of his
you did
one of his programs. I forget what it was.
Yep, yeah, Legends Line USA.
And I can't remember now. That might have been the last one, or somebody did. Was it you? Didn't you do a show where you played like all my songs for my dances?
Yes, I did a radio show where I played.
Yeah,
I did a radio show all about your choreography.
Yeah, so I got up in my kitchen, and if you ever see my kitchen, you realize if you took my van, that's about how much space inside this van I have in my kitchen to move around. So there's a very limited space.
Derek said you danced at the Michigan camping party.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. There might have been some moonshine involved at that party.
Shocker, you're with Derek and moonshine was involved. No, really?
Yeah, so that honestly was probably the last time then. And the cool thing, though, and this is something I'll be addressing in my show as well, because a lot of people, one of the other topics people asked about is, how do you remember everything? So we'll talk about developing techniques that help to sharpen your memory and help you to remember things. There are things that you can do to help you recall things. But the cool thing for me, I think, is most of it becomes muscle memory. Right. So once I go through the dance like twice, sometimes 3 times, it just, if it's well choreographed, it just comes right back, and I don't even have to, it's like, oh, cool, I remember that. I went to a local dance, I can't remember when that was, September maybe? I don't remember. But they put Cliche Love Song on, and I was like, and they said, didn't you help choreograph this dance? I'm like, yes, I did, with Joe Thompson-Szymanski and Guyton Monday, and the only part I can remember was the arm bit. But, by like the 3rd time through, it all came back. So I'm very curious to see how well I do in social dancing.
JP Potter, if you're listening, I smell a John Robinson Power Hour coming on. Let's see how many he can remember.
But here's the thing, Kelly. I love dancing.
Oh, I know.
I love it.
From a guy who has DJ'd when you've been in the room many of times, I'm very well aware of that fact.
Yeah, and it's not the same dancing by yourself in your kitchen. So, or even doing, I've had a blast doing all the online things like DDW and Rob's thing, but it's not the same because there's nobody there. You're dancing in an empty room by yourself. And one of the things that I've always loved about dancing, what I feel is one of the driving factors for me, is I love feeding off the energy of the people around me. So it is way more fun to dance with, a room full of people than it is to dance all by myself.
Of course. That's kind of why when I started the show, I wanted to do something that wasn't dancing, because everyone was trying to do dancing stuff, and I know it was getting saturated, and I know a lot of people out there have a lot of knowledgeable information to share with the world. And that's why I was like, there's so much, like you, Brian Barakowskis, Rob Fowler, Jen was on, Willie. I've had so many guests that just had so much info from their experiences and past to share.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to highlight the show.
Yeah.
that
And
you're
the cool
doing.
thing, Kelly, is everybody has different perspectives. So,
Yes.
um, and that just kind of leads me into this next topic. So one of the series in the show is going to be about turns. And while I was there, I didn't film all the turn sections. I only did like a couple of them and I was like, should I do them? And something just made me say no. And it was very interesting that I chose not to, because right after that, Miles and Tessa, who are our West Coast Swing champions,
Yep.
had a spinability challenge on Facebook. And I was like, what a weird coincidence that this would show up like the day after or 2 days later. So I enrolled in it, and it was really cool because I learned some things. As far as the turns go, I know all that information already. So that I didn't need to learn any of that stuff. But the cool thing was the drills that they provided. So
Yep.
I've not seen some of those drills before, and that was really helpful information so that I can then incorporate that in the way that I teach dance or turns for dancing. So I think that, again, that was the universe working to make sure that I didn't do the turning thing too soon, because now that I saw that, I was like, oh, there's some really good information that they presented in a completely different way that's really helpful, and I can now incorporate that in my teaching as well. And that's the cool thing about our industry. Everybody has a different background, everybody
Hmm.
has different experiences, and you're right, there's just so much information. And as for me, I've had several people say to me, especially now that I'm old, that, oh, you should write a book, or you should do, some kind of online thing. And the timing just happened to be right for me to be able to do it now. So I'm hoping that people will appreciate it, because I have spent years and years perfecting this and getting good at what I do. And it's very, sorry, I didn't plan to go off on this topic, but it's very humbling and very awesome to see that people appreciate it. Um, all the time and the effort and the energy I've spent perfecting my craft and perfecting how I portray it to other people when I teach and when I'm dancing.
Absolutely. That's I know I shared a couple weeks ago an article that Adrian Sheckley wrote. Um, he highlighted me being an LDR DJ now in a magazine, and I put in there a part where he asked who my inspirations were and who I look up to, and the three people I mentioned were the reason I got into dancing was Guyton in the bar that I was just um, randomly in a bar at and got to meet Guyton. And then I have you and Brian Barakauskas. Like when I write, I think this that I just entered for the finals might have been the first time I had not contacted you beforehand, before I entered dances lately. And this was, and I knew you're getting ready for your show. I was on the road, so I did it knowing I needed to. I finished off the dances. I always ask your opinion afterwards, anyway. But the thing, this is probably the first time a lot of the dances I've written in the past couple of years. I bring to you and I show you and I ask you, okay, what am I doing wrong, or what do you think of this? Because one, I trust your opinion, and two, you're not going to sugarcoat nothing, and three, you're not going to try to turn it into your own. You're going to, what I'm good at. You know what type of what I strive at, and you
Yep.
know how to bring that out. And you were a big reason why I decided to compete again. You're the reason I took last year off, and you're the big reason why I came back for this year.
Cool. Well, and that's that one of the coolest things about doing what I do and what I've been doing for the past 20 years is that I get to, I'm not going to call it mentor people, but I get to see people coming up the way that I did. And if I can help in any way, shape, or form, I'm glad to do it. So just yesterday, I think, in fact, somebody that I know sent me a dance and asked for my feedback and said exactly what you just said. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell me exactly what you think. And anybody who knows me, I will tell you. And if you don't want to hear it, don't ask for my feedback, because I'll tell you the good things, and then I'll tell you the things that I feel could use improvement. And then it's up to you. It's up to you to take that information and do with it what you will. So that's like everything I present on the show that's coming up. this is really helpful information. I can't force you to use it, and some things will resonate with some people and some things probably won't. But my goal is to help people be better no matter what they're doing, whether it's just being a better social dancer or being a better teacher or being a better choreographer or being a better competitor. Or, I've coached teams, and I've coached competitive people. I've coached people who just say, I feel weird when I do this move when I dance. How can I fix it? I'm happy to help people in that way. That's part of why I do what I do. It's not because I don't know how to. I can't really put it into words. It's just part of what I love about doing what I do is helping other people enjoy it and get better at it.
Right. And for the weird part, John will still find ways to think you're doing stuff weird when you're dancing it. It's okay. I remember when we wrote Zero to Crazy. You stopped me in the middle, like, how do you get your body to do that?
Well, it's, and this is how I learn too, right? This is how I become better as an instructor and a coach and a mentor, whatever you want to call it, because I want to know. I will ask people. I will, that's all part of wanting to help people. If I didn't have that curiosity and that interest, I wouldn't be as well-rounded as I am, I think. I've always felt like, and this is something I'll talk about in the show is keeping your mind open to other options. So just because you prefer, let's say, all country dances and wearing your cowboy boots doesn't mean you shouldn't at least try to expose yourself to other kinds of line dancing. We've had a lot of people come to the dance events who only danced at their local bar at home. And it always cracks me up because the first time they come, they're like in their boots and they're stomping around and doing their 558 spins in a row and having a blast. But then they also feel very intimidated because they go, we don't know all this other stuff. We only know the 17 dances we do back home at the bar. And then they discover there's a whole nother world out there. And next thing you know, they're buying dance shoes and choreographers t-shirts and they're like trying a nightclub two-step. Oh my gosh. But no matter what you like or what your style, because like for me, example, I tend to like the extremes. I like, syncopated rhythm. I like dances. What's it called? Play that sax. I like the jumpy around, happy, energetic, woohoo kind of dances. But on the other side, I also like the really pretty things. I love a really good nightclub two-step or a really well-written waltz. I like those two extremes. When I get to the middle ground dances, the stuff to me that what I would call middle ground, they have to be really special to capture me because I want to feel something when I dance.
Right.
So it's a really cool world that we're in, and there's so many perspectives and so much information that I feel does not actually get shared at dance conventions or even in local classes. So that's there's so many topics I'm going to be addressing in the show, and people have given me really good ideas. This just popped in my head, so I'm going to say it. The question I got the most, or the topic to talk about, how to read and understand step descriptions. I'm not kidding.
That doesn't surprise me one bit at all. To be quite honest, it doesn't.
Yeah. I've done a whole workshop at like Fort Wayne on how to write step sheet. And it's been a 2-hour class, and people, there's so much information to provide, and you think it would be so simple, but so many, especially new choreographers, don't know how to put that into words. They don't know how to write it on paper.
There's plenty of old choreographers that don't know how to do that either, though, John. Come on.
Well, I was just going to get to that point because in the class that I did at Jamie's event, I actually put some sheets on the screen, and I was trying to not show the choreographer's name, and one of them showed the choreographer's name, and I said, that person should know better. But that's a big deal because if you have both social dancers and instructors having trouble reading step descriptions, that means there's a big problem. So that's something I'll be addressing. I already did in the videos that I filmed, but I can see there's going to need to be some follow-up, probably podcasts or something, to go into that a little bit deeper. But these are the types of things we don't normally get exposed to at the big dance events. It's not information that's commonly provided. And unless you take the time to research it yourself or go ask somebody, you're not going to know that information. So that's one of the goals here, is to get that information out that I feel is really necessary and helpful. It's
agreed.
one of the things I always say to people is when we do when I do a technique class, every now and then you'll have that one person who says, "Oh, I don't really care about technique. I just want to have fun." And I'm like, well, here's the thing. The better your technique, the more fun you have, because it's easier. You know how to move properly. You know how to anticipate a turn and to prep for it. And you know how to make yourself light as a butterfly on the floor versus a stomping elephant. These are all really helpful things to know.
The problem is, what it really comes down to is, do they want to give up a chance at possibly missing the workshop or the cool dance to learn the technique? There's the kicker. With your show, they don't have to ever miss a workshop. They can do it at home at their leisure.
Yes.
They don't have to worry about missing a dance class in the middle of a workshop weekend to learn the technique or learn how to write the step sheet or learn how to choreograph. Yep. They can just watch it at their own leisure, and that's what makes this good.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that, Kelly, because I want everybody to understand that all the material that will be on the page, so each week something new will be uploaded. It's not all going to be there right at once because, hey, kids, I have to keep you wanting more. So each week on like Tuesdays and Fridays, I think I have the setup. So something gets dropped on Tuesday, something gets dropped on Friday. And
definitely been talking to Mr. Brian Barakowskis. Trust me, I have the same thing written down. You always do a schedule. You release the stuff on the set. Yep.
Yep. And no matter what your subscription level is, you're going to get a notice that something new's been posted. So, but you don't have to go look at it right away. It's going to be there whenever you log in. So that's the cool thing about it. And what I really like about this platform is I don't have to host anything. I don't have to have all that information on my website. I don't have to worry about making sure I have enough bandwidth to run all these videos and store them and all that kind of thing. That's why I went with this platform, because I just upload it. It is there forever until I remove it. And as long as you're a subscriber, you can go back and watch it again. You can listen again. You can scroll through the funny, weird posts that I put on there anytime you want. So, and at your leisure, that's the great thing. You don't have to be there. I'll be doing some live things as well, but most of the material will be there for you to access whenever you want.
That's awesome. You definitely go check it out, guys. The John Robinson Show at gmail.com. Email them. Get info on it. It drops tomorrow.
Also, yes, thank you, Kelly. And if people are having trouble, I know some people have said they've had trouble getting the emails from me because I'm using a mail server to send those out. And because I have a Gmail address, they say that because it's a free address, sometimes those don't get through as well as if you're sending a message from your own domain.
Right.
Well, I don't have my own domain, so I have Mr. Showcase, but I don't have the John Robinson Show as a domain, and I don't want to set it up as a domain. So if anybody's having an issue getting the emails, you can join the Facebook group. I decided to set up a Facebook page for the John Robinson Show. Just go in there, and when I post something new, I'll just put a message on there so people know that it's coming. But I also want to have everybody's email address so that in the future, if I come up with something new, or let's say, heaven forbid, Facebook goes down for some reason, I still have a way to get in touch with you.
Or you get blocked from Facebook.
Yeah. Who's that happened to?
Recently or overall?
I know that
Rachel just got busted for a picture of her wedding dress. She got blocked from posting for 3 days.
Okay.
I've lost my entire Facebook. I had to start from scratch. So
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So, but that's why it's helpful to have the email address. And this is funny. I'm torn on whether I should.
Rachel just said me.
I'm torn on whether I should write to the two people who unsubscribed right after getting their first email. Because
you get used to that after a while.
Oh no, I'm not. But I want to know, like, why did you ask for information and then immediately unsubscribe after the first message? Because I've been a marketer my whole life. I used to work in an advertising department. So the curious part of my brain wants to know, like, what was it that you were expecting that you didn't get when you got that first email? But then the other side of me is like, I'm too busy editing videos and podcasts. I don't have time to ask.
We
But
had a lot of people unsubscribe after we did our giveaway.
really,
We at the beginning of quarantine, when we partnered with Streamline, we gave away a pair of Beats headphones, and we had you do a couple things for entries. One of them was sign up for our mailing list, and right after we gave away the Beats headphones, when we sent out the next email, I think we ended up with like 20 people that unsubscribed, and they pretty much they subscribed in order to qualify to get into the drawing. Pretty much is what we've noticed, and Brian will tell you all the time, people unsubscribe for the stupidest of reasons. We had one person unsubscribe when we sent out a Happy Easter email because they didn't want the Happy Easter email. So Kelly wants to know you're not stopping your daily post, right?
Say that again.
Kelly wants to know. She goes, "You're not stopping your daily post, right?"
Well,
that's a yes.
That it's. I've been doing those for mostly myself. And the reason I say that is it's because it helps to keep me sane. It usually takes me about an hour to come up with those. So not necessarily the workout part, the exercise part. That's just something I have it. I cut and paste it. I just changed the numbers on what I did that day. That part's pretty easy. But finding the quote, and I don't know if you all know this, but all those little memes and little things I've designed those. Those are me. I didn't copy those from somebody. I didn't borrow them off the internet. I spend time making those and design, because that's what I used to do for a living. I worked in an ad department. I used to publish a magazine. That was my favorite job ever. I designed it. I worked with the printer to print it. I worked with all the artists and the authors to get it all put together. So I love doing that kind of thing. So doing all those little posts every day really helps another part of my creative outlet to be fulfilled. But also just for my mental health, I'm trying to stay in a positive frame of mind. And if it helps anybody else, which a lot of people have said that it has, that's fantastic and wonderful. And I'm very thrilled that people are benefiting from it, because it's been a very, very challenging time for me to not be able to do what I love. And there are days still, not as much as before, but there are days still where I just will burst into tears at the drop of a hat. Just the silliest thing. I can watch a video of a dandelion opening and I'll just burst into tears. And I'm like, and I'll be in a perfectly good mood and I'll be like,
right,
where the hell did that come from? So for my own sanity, I've been doing that, but it's gotten now with me getting the show ready, it's more of a chore than it is a fun thing. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do now that December's starting. They may be less frequent. I haven't decided yet. I mean,
do them dressed up like an elf.
I need an elf costume.
I'm pretty sure we can make that happen.
Hey, and there's a good point. If anybody wants to, send me a costume to wear on one of my videos on the show, go for it.
I would be scared. I would not post that too much, because you might get some really weird costumes that people want by request. I'm just saying.
Well, one of the cool things about the show is that it's to help people see, other sides of me, as well as give them useful information. So I'm all about doing things that keep everybody entertained. I mean, you guys know that I'm an entertainer. I'm not just a teacher or a dancer or a choreographer. I'm an entertainer. I like to help people have a good time. That's just me. That's part of my nature. I can't help it. So whatever, and that's it. Those, now keep in mind, that's only going to be for the people at the higher tier that will be able to see that.
Stephen Bennett says, I have a chicken costume for you.
Cool.
No, I'm with you on that. It's been hard. Like at the beginning of this, when we still thought the showdown was happening, still trying to have the motivation to choreograph was easy. But as time went on and on and on and on, getting closer, it was like trying to find the motivation to want to write dances again. It was like, that's why I took the break from doing the show. Like I was doing the show every day. And then it just got to the point where like I needed a break from it for a couple weeks, and then brought it back. It's just you go through those stretches where,
Mm-hmm.
What do you
that's
what do you want to do?
Relatable. I didn't choreograph anything for months, and now I think I've written like 3 dances in the last couple of weeks. I kind of sort of had to get back into the choreographical mindset because I was supposed to be getting a show ready for the Florida Line Dance Classic, and I wasn't sure if I should spend all the time getting it ready because I wasn't sure, is the event really going to happen, or is something awful going to happen and we can't go. So trying to do that show was work. It was hard because I wasn't I'm still not really feeling it. Without that stimulus there, it's hard. I'll just tell you one of my little secrets. So, and I don't do this every day, but I should. So with my life book plan that I'm working on, you're supposed to delineate what you will do like on a daily basis to get where you want to be. And one of the things I wrote down for my daily routine was, one of the first things I do when I get up in the morning is put on a song and dance around just to that one track, preferably something from the 80s, because that's what I love. So I haven't been very good about doing that right away in the morning, but typically I listen to 80s music when I work out, when I do my exercise program. So I don't always remember to dance around, and I need to. I need to, because that's one of the episodes in my show is talking about. Actually, I think that's in the second podcast that's coming out. That'll be out next week, where I talk about letting go, and that's part of it. Is just putting on a piece of music and just doing whatever. Doesn't have to be choreographed. It's just whatever your body feels like. That's good for us. It's good for everybody. And I think I know that as adults, we get so far away from that. When we're kids, everything is a toy. Everything is something you can play with. You go in the woods, and you know what I mean? You can make a fort out of sticks and leaves, and people grow up to be adults and are like, well, I have to go to work, and I have to go buy groceries, and I have to, clean the toilet when I get home. And we forget how to play. We forget how to just enjoy ourselves. We really do. And I think sometimes that leads to people turning to stuff like alcohol and other ways to escape. I mean, I like a drink just as much as anybody else who likes drinks, but that's not the answer. You should be able to let go anytime you want to. And that's why people don't like going grocery shopping with me, because I'll be in the store and some great song will come on and I'll start singing and dancing down the aisles, and Chris will just be like, I'm going to the produce section. And I'm like a virgin, hey. And most people just laugh. But as adults, we don't do that. We don't just cut loose. We have to be respectable and proper and screw all that. We shouldn't lose that childlike playfulness and willingness to just let go and enjoy.
Come spend a week in Myrtle Beach with us, John. Come on, you know better than that.
Well, and that's one of the cool aspects of that particular dance event that Steve has down in Myrtle Beach, is it's more fun than it is, let's try to cram in 85 dances in 3 days, that no one's ever going to remember or do 90% of those again within 3 weeks.
Right.
So I love that event because there's more of that play factor involved. But just in general, I feel people need to learn to break free of whatever restrictions they're putting on themselves, or they think their friends are putting on them, or society, or whatever. That's all here. That's all in your head. We limit ourselves, and we can choose to, have a blast whenever we feel like it.
Darren says, I do enjoy a little dance in the aisle and watching Amy roll her eyes at me.
Oh, cool. I want to see
man.
that. I want video proof. I need video evidence. But
you hear that, Darren? You're gonna have to video that now.
That's what it should. We should all do that. What does it matter? What does it matter if you're standing in line somewhere and you're, waiting to check out, or you're bored and you want to jump around a little bit? And it's entertaining for the people around you, first of all, but it's good for your soul. And we all need that. Especially now, we all need to do things that are good for our soul. And speaking of things that are good for your soul, the John Robinson Show is totally awesome for your soul.
Well, I took the same approach this year with the competing. I put so much pressure on myself, and I coming from the UCWDC world, competition was everything. So you went down, you're dressed, you were dressed to the nines, you're ready to compete, and that's how I took the approach the first couple years of doing the USLDCC. And this year I took the more laid back approach. I showed up in jeans and a t-shirt. I had a beer or two with the DJ, and and I just had fun with it. I wrote stuff this year that was more, I don't know. I got a lot of comments over the past years, and you know this because me and you've talked about this, where I should stick to one genre and one level and one thing. And I guess this year I kind of said screw that, and I did things for me. And you know that. And we talked lots of this. Me and you talked a lot on this topic, and I had to take that advice you just said. I just took and did what I wanted to do. I went and had more. I don't want to. Fun is a word, but I took more.
You were being more true to yourself.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was doing this for me, and that's what I kind of took it. And that's the same approach I took with the dances I entered in the finals. And I was just like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and that's what it is. I'm going to go this weekend. Like you, I've been out of the work, considering dance events are my life, just like you. I am so looking forward. I get to be there Wednesday to put down dance floor, so I am totally stoked. I don't think I went to the storage unit for the first time a couple weeks ago because I had to get the sound system because I DJ'd a little party down in Miami. But I was telling Kelly, I don't think I've ever been looking forward to doing floor this much in my life. Like, I am so stoked to go and load that floor and get ready to put that floor down on Wednesday that I'm so looking forward to the event. I'm looking forward to the entire thing. And I know, and coming from a guy who works from start to finish, I'm looking forward to that. I am so looking forward to that. Like, I'm looking forward to having to put the floor down. I'm looking forward to having to get ready for the comp, the demos, the live streaming, all of it. I am so looking forward to the dance event. It's not even funny. Like,
yes, it'll be amazing when we can get back.
And like Kelly says, the Mexican food on Sunday.
I sure hope so.
Oh, they're open. We've been. They are open. They are open. Chewy's is open, so we know that.
All right. Good.
Chris Jocks says, "I'll bring the drinks for the floor party." That's right. I get to see you soon, Mr. Jocks. I think he gets in tomorrow. Yeah.
Cool. So that's bringing up Chris's name.
Uh-oh.
Well, that's something that I talk about in the show, not Chris specifically, but choreography. That is a big topic, and something that's not often addressed, which I can tell now I'm going to need to do a couple more podcasts about it, above and beyond the video series that I completed, because with all the questions that are coming in and the thoughts that have been percolating in my head, there's so much information that is not out there that people need to know. And just as an example, just listening to the music and interpreting it, everyone's gonna hear things differently, right? And that's the cool thing about collaboration as well. So if, like, when I work with you and I see what you hear, let's say to that Zero to Crazy song, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, we need to incorporate that. And then when I do something, you're like, oh, that fits really nicely there, that's cool. And then we got to that body roll on the part where
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
But that's when things are well tailored to the track. So one of the dances that I just evaluated when I watched it, the step patterns were okay. It was the song. The song had a very in-your-face structure, undeniable structure, count-wise, and the dance didn't acknowledge that. So my feedback on that, one of my most specific feedbacks was, you need to somehow acknowledge the structure of the music, because the dance is going to feel better, and it will also be more memorable. It'll stay in people's bodies versus just doing what I would call like generic steps that you've strung together to go to this music because you like the music. And I feel a lot of up and coming choreographers kind of need a little guidance with that. And some of the and this is the cool thing, let's say, like about the USLDCC, I have loved being part of that and judging it and watching, because it is so fascinating and rewarding to me to see the cool spins that people put on step patterns and combinations that you're like, well, how come no one's ever done that before? Or, it's just not common, and they throw that in. You're like, well, that was really clever. Or they pick a very interesting piece of music, and the way they interpret it is actually really quite cool. That type of information needs to be out there for not just choreographers, but for everyone. So even your social dancers should understand, why do some dances feel better, and why are they easier to remember? There are reasons.
Yeah.
There are dances that I get on the floor, and every time I go out to do them, I have to and they're not hard. I'm not talking about advanced dances. I'm talking about improver dances. I go out to the floor and I'm like, how does this go again? Because it's so generic. It's a popular hit. It's a popular dance, but the way it's put together, there's nothing memorable about it to stay in my body and my brain. So that's something that I'll be addressing as well. Ooh, all the lights just came on. I'm parked outside the hotel and all the lights came on.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the John Robinson Show. Guys, tomorrow, 8 p.m., send in your email to johnrobinsonshow@gmail.com. Get your info. Everything launches tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time. So definitely do that. Get more information. Get ready to sign up for tiers. If you're in the Orlando area or feel like driving to the Orlando area, if you want to see John Robinson in person, Thursday through Sunday, he will be at the Orlando Marriott Lakeside, the one by the Orlando International Airport. Definitely come and join us. We're going to have fun. Darren says, see you this weekend. I know Rachel went away a little bit ago. That's going to be a fun. We got Rachel, Darren, John, Larry Bass, Trevor Thornton's going to be there, JP Potter. It's going to be a fun time. Looking forward to it, that's for sure. Betty said, best wishes, John. Hope you have a huge hit. Don't forget, guys, we're about just a little under 2 hours away from the CBA going live. That's right. The tickets, £25. Betty will be posting that link online and location. Definitely sign up for that. You are not going to miss what's in store. That is going to be a fun time. John's pulling out his wallet already. He's got some kind of a card. Debit card. He's got a card pulling out. Tomorrow's show, I'm going to have the one and only Daniel Trapat. That's going to be at noon Eastern, guys. Noon Eastern, 5 o'clock UK time. Special time there. We're going to be talking all about his Olay event that's coming up next year in Spain that he's going through with. So definitely tune in for that. And we'll probably be posting tons of videos all throughout the week. As of Wednesday, I'll be at the event, so we will not have no Honky Tonk Highway live as of right now. But we will be going live from the event for the competition, for the show. So definitely tune in for that. That is going to be fun. Now we'll be live on our YouTube page. So make sure to tune in, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be live there. Betty said, I'll buy yours if you buy mine. So definitely tune in for that. So great time as always, Mr. Robinson. And
thank you, sir.
I'm going to get to see you very soon.
Yes, and I will be very excited to drive 15 and a half hours, which I haven't done since March.
Oh,
so.
Yeah, you could have joined in on my road trip. I just drove from Cali to Florida. Oh, that's right, guys. Tomorrow. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know what? This is why I did this interview in my van, because it just feels like home to me.
9 a.m. tomorrow, guys. 2 p.m. East UK time. I am back. The Honky Tonk Highway Online Answer Radio. Huge thank you for John. Big Dave for filling in for me for the last 2 weeks. But I will be live back on the air 9 a.m. Eastern for the Honky Tonk Highway Online Answer Radio. So definitely check that out. We're going to be playing music that I like to listen to throughout my trip. Some music that inspired me. Some dances that I loved reminiscing about. And I'm actually going to be playing all 4 tracks I'm competing. I am going to debut. You already know one of them. Dave's been playing it a little bit. Trevor's been teaching it, Nelly and Florida Georgia Line. That's my improver. So I'll be playing the other 3 tracks that I will be competing this weekend as I get them ready to send to Copperknob and to Betty for Line Dancer Web. So get ready to check that out tomorrow. But until next time, thank you so much, Mr. Robinson.
Thank you.
You guys have
Love
fun.
you all.
See ya.